Nick, it's great to have you on the podcast today. How you doing?
Good. How are you, Adam? Thanks for having me.
No, you're most welcome, Nick. And yeah, I'm very well, thank you. And yeah, I just kind of thought I'd start off by kind of introducing you and like talking about how you kind of got into what you're doing and a bit about your backstory because you work, as like a producer, don't you, for the the Ryan Show radio podcast.
Right. Yeah, I am currently a producer for the Ryan Show FM. The Ryan Show FM is a nationally syndicated radio show in the United States based out of New York. But it's actually also globally syndicated. We have couple stations in Nigeria. We have stations in Turkey and the Ukraine as well. Over 280 internet radio stations as well. But so I'm the producer, and I went to high school actually with two of the co-hosts, Hampton's Dave and Ryan Vernell. So kind of like a throwback connection there.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, and I think it's great that the radio station is it's quite big and it's getting bigger as you say by branching out different countries and different radio stations, and it just shows you how it can kind of grow. And I think what I like about the radio station is that it focuses on lots of different things like sport, entertainment. There's people's like stories on there as well. It covers
absolutely. Ryan's vision for the show when it started 5 years ago has not changed to today. And his vision for the show has always been he wants to bridge the gap on people with contrasting views, which we definitely need today, but using comedy and entertainment and sports and whatever it may be to do so. We love to have people on that have the outlandish conversations sometimes, because guess what? We need to bridge the gap between what people would consider quote unquote normal and what those people experience in everyday life. My everyday life is significantly different than yours. And that's the same as true for any two people. In my opinion, anyway, internally, externally, whatever it may be. So Ryan's always tried to bridge the gap using his innate ability to be entertaining, funny, and all those other things. So, and also a huge hip hop vibe, as well as our other co-host is a 90s hip hop legend. So,
no, it's definitely important, as you said. And I think it's that originality, isn't it? And to have those different conversations that aren't kind of being aren't on the radio or certain stations, those kind of conversations where people, you might get certain personalities on that talk about certain topics. And I think that's the kind of beauty of radio and podcasting. I mean, is the Ryan Show, is it censored when it's on the radio, or is it kind of, like a podcast where?
Yeah, so we're on FM radio. So that means we have to be censored. Obviously sometimes things slip, but we have to censor it before we put the show in.
Yeah.
So we pre-record Monday nights, and the show doesn't premiere till Thursdays. So Ryan has mastered, maybe not mastered, but he's taken on the role of, this is his brand, his show, and he's going to edit it.
Yeah.
And, obviously we have to cater it to the standards of FM radio. So.
Yeah, no, that's it. And I think it's great that, you can use that and get it out to like a large audience as well. Because I suppose you have like a large, like I assume the Instagram account's got, quite a big following. Like you said, it's fairly kind of early days, really.
Yeah, I mean, listen, social media is a whole different ballgame than the radio show. Social media is almost like a separate job from being a radio host. Like a lot of these people that you see that are famous or have these big brands, that's why they hire people to run their social media accounts, because it's like a whole separate job to get advertising out there, to get awareness of your brand. And it's the way of life in 2021. You know what I mean? So it's definitely a challenge. But Ryan, like I said, has been at it for 5 years, and he's finally mastered the art of getting people to look at his work. So yeah, he's built quite the following on Instagram, quite the following. We haven't really tried on any other platforms because Instagram took off quite a bit. So,
yeah, no, that's awesome. And I remember when we last spoke, you mentioned that you spoke to is it Sugar Ray Leonard?
Yeah.
And that was kind of like, is it through this work of like podcasting and radio? Is it?
Yeah. So I started with my own blog when COVID hit. I just started writing my own blog. And no one was really seeing it. So Ryan asked me to be a part of the radio show when he finally started seeing my work. And that was when I was able to reach out. Now, the reason I got Sugar Ray Leonard is because I reached out to Sugar Ray Leonard on email because he had just put out a story with the Players Tribune. It's a big sports publication in the States here. And he was talking about his sobriety. Sugar Ray Leonard is 14 years clear of drugs and alcohol.
Wow.
So he was talking about his sobriety and kind of finally went public with his struggles for the first time, really in depth. And I have the same story as Sugar Ray Leonard. He has 14 years. On February 3rd, I will have 3 years. So I wrote him a letter, an email, connected with him, and I ended up interviewing one of my idols. And from there, it's kind of taken off. Like I built my resume, and now we bring these people on the Ryan show. We have conversations before, and I've made connections and met people that I only thought was possible in my wildest dreams. So it's been an amazing ride so far. But like for people out there, what I want them to know is there's a huge fear when you go to chase your dreams, right? Everybody has a dream. And I don't care what it is, and I don't care how old you are. Go for it, because I would rather have people tell me I'm an idiot for chasing my dream than tell me I'm a coward for never chasing it in the first place.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think, congratulations to you as well for like, changing things around and doing that. And I think, like you said as well, like people, they don't chase their dreams, like you said, because probably, fear and, self-doubt and all these things that might stop them. And I think, like you said, it just shows you, just you send an email, reach out to somebody and they connect with you. And then it just kind of opens up a whole new kind of playing field.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's the way of the world these days. And like, do you know how much fear that was like just consuming me when I went to go write that email to Sugar Ray Leonard? I must have sat on that send button for 45 minutes to an hour before I actually sent it. And I'm pacing around and I'm calling Ryan and I'm talking to my wife and I'm like, do I send this email? And they're like, go for it. Go for it. And all these people around me are like, yeah, email them. What are you doing? And here I'm still, the self-doubt was so consuming. Like, am I even worth this interview? Yeah. Even after he responded and I was so elated that I got the interview and it was like this emotional roller coaster, I was still like, am I worthy of this? Who am I to be interviewing Sugar Ray Leonard? But then I was like, you know what? I am worth it. Because everybody is.
Yeah. So. Yeah, no, that's amazing. And I think, it's great that you sent that email, but like you said, there is it's that kind of that gap, isn't it? Between like where you stand, your like goals and your dreams and that kind of that space in between, isn't it? That fear, that doubt, that what if, and it's all these little things that are just kind of like in your imagination. And I remember before I did my podcast, I didn't do it for 2 or 3 years because I was worried what people are going to think and all the rest of it. And it's scary to think like, what if I hadn't have done that?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I was terrified when I even just started my little blog that I was only sharing on my Facebook. I was terrified. And I have to say that is the only thing between people and chasing their dreams or finding what it is that they were meant to do or feel like they should do in this world is fear and doubt and self-pity and whatever, anxiety, depression, whatever. I have all those things, and those are the only things that separate, that's the gap that you were alluding to, is those things. Now, once you get there, guess what? You bring all of those anxieties and depressions and everything with you. So every single day, you might have a really good day where you get the responses from the people you're trying to talk to and you get that interview. We've both interviewed David Meltzer, but then you have the days that you're like, what the hell am I doing this for? I'm not worth anything, and it's just those negative emotions trying to creep back in and convince you you're not worth it. And it's a constant battle to remind yourself that you are.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a really great point. And like you said, those things, sometimes don't go away. And they're kind of there in the background, or they can creep up in certain instances, can't they? And it's just like a reminder, they're there. But I think, like you said, it's like not letting them kind of control you and you kind of being in control, having that balance where you kind of know yourself and you can kind of deal with it.
Right. Right, yeah. And knowing your limitations, you have to know when to step away and take a break too. You got to know when to give your mind a rest, when to because it's not only like your goals and your dreams that you're all worried about and fearful of and anxiety and all that, But then it's everything that comes with it, especially in the media industry. You have to focus on building a following on social media. You have to do all these things, and everybody's in your ear saying you have to do this and you have to do that, and it gets overwhelming, and you kind of like shut down.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to balance it, you shut down, and I don't know if there's a way to come out of that. So you have to find that balance. Balance is so huge, especially I think it's huge with anything, work, play, family, friends, but balance is big, especially in the media industry, because you have to like step away for a few minutes and kind of gather yourself and remind yourself that you're a human being. You know?
Yeah. I think that's a really great point, and I think like that's something I spoke about earlier today in a video I did, where I was like saying like it's that balance, isn't it? And especially I think with COVID, people we're in the UK we're in a lockdown right now. I think you are as well. And it's like if you're not careful, people can get into their old habits or doing things that don't serve them, and it's that balance of like probably having something to eat, having a certain something to eat on the weekend, or having a drink of the week, whatever it is for whatever person, and kind of like understanding that balance and like looking at yourself, because I think like it's forcing people to look at themselves, and people got more time.
Yeah. You know what with me was I had to keep my mind busy. I had to keep my hands busy, because I know what happens when I sit there and I'm alone with my thoughts and with nothing as an outlet. You got to find an outlet. You have to find something positive to put your mind and your energy into, and again, find that balance, or you're going to slip into like I don't want to say a dark place, because not everybody gets to that dark place. I can only say for me, I get to that dark place if I don't find something else. Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not ashamed to admit that. Like it's a very human thing to feel that way. But like you said, during lockdown, especially during the times of COVID and during lockdown, I don't care if it's for 10 minutes or 10 hours, you have to find something to just release all of that pent up, whatever it is, aggression, fear, sadness, loneliness, anxiety, depression, whatever it is. You got to find at least 10 minutes a day to get rid of it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's a really great point, and I think it's that outlet, isn't it? Having that kind of healthy outlet where you can do something that helps you kind of leave that, because I think if you don't, it can just whiz around your head. And for me, I have to try and everyone has their own thing, don't they? But for me, it's like playing video games for a bit, doing a podcast, reading, or going for a walk, or something. I think it's really important, as you mentioned, and I think for people. I mean, everyone's in different places and different situations. Some people can't. There isn't really anywhere for them to go where they live, but there are still things that they can kind of put their attention to, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And as well, like when you said like, what was the kind of turning point for you that you kind of drew a line in the sand and decided you was going to change and not kind of do what you was doing in the past?
Do you mean with my addiction and my alcoholism?
Yeah. What was the kind of like turning point for you?
Well, I'm 31 years old, so I got clean when I was 29.
Yeah.
And I had been attempting to get clean for 8 years before that. So I had a couple turning points, because I've tried and I've failed to stay clean for quite some time. And this is the first time I've had this kind of extended period of cleanliness.
Yeah,
so the first time was, and I'm very open and out there about my story. My story is actually in the news. You can find my story in the news. Google my name, and I have no problem with it. I got to the lowest point when I tried to commit suicide, and I woke up in the hospital bed, and I realized that it was none of the people I used with. It was none of the people I drank with. Wasn't people I thought were friends. It wasn't anybody I thought was cool because we were doing drugs together. No, it was my stepmom, my dad, my older brother, and my uncle, all with tears in their eyes. It was all the people I hurt through my addiction and my drinking that were still there for me at my lowest, with tears in their eyes, showing me that they love me. So I tell that story because it's such a powerful moment in my life. And And by the way, that still didn't stop me from using, but it's still a powerful moment that I'll never forget. The second time was my kids.
Yeah.
2 years ago, my oldest looked at me with like this look of disgust and look of like he didn't know who I was. And it fucking rocked me to my core. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, it just absolutely rocked me to my core. And I'll never forget that. And actually my wife was a huge part in me getting clean. She was firm and she was tough. But she was also loving at the same time. And I think she knew who I was before drugs. Well, she did know who I was before drugs. But but she also met me when I was in sobriety, and then I relapsed after we were, when we were married. So it was a really tough go for her, but she stuck with me. Like it was all about finding support was my turning point. Like I thought I was so alone when I wasn't. So once I finally realized I wasn't alone is when I started to heal.
Yeah. No, I think it's great, what you're doing, and it's inspiring, to hear your story, and like from where you've shifted, and it just shows you, we can change, and we can change our lives around, and like the importance of having, a supportive group of people around you in that time, and when you mentioned about your family and how they felt, like you heard of Joey Diaz, Joey.
Of course.
Yeah, he spoke about something similar. Like he was in prison, and he said, like, the look on his family's faces and stuff like that. And that made him like shift and change, and it just shows, doesn't having those people there for you and supporting you in that path.
Yeah, I mean, you need it. No journey. First of all, no journey is worth it alone, and second of all, I don't think any journey is. No journey's worth it, but I also don't think it's really a journey if you're doing it by yourself. And that's just my opinion. I mean, I could meet somebody tomorrow that says, I love doing my own thing. I love doing my own journey. I think it's great.
Yeah.
And trust me, there's people in the world who rightfully so don't have a connection with their families, right?
Yeah,
they don't have family. They don't have this. They don't have that, whatever the circumstances around it may be. So even friends, somebody just... I know for me, and I don't want to put this on anybody else, right?
No, of course. This is like your bit, yeah.
Yeah, left alone with my own devices is a very dangerous place. So,
yeah. No, I think everyone's different. Everyone's got their own like outlook, haven't they, and their own way of going about things. But I think like you mentioned as well, like these experiences that you went through, you can use that, to help other people as well, and give them that guidance. So I think like, when you go through things in life, like even like the worst times or bad times, you can use that, and I think you grow stronger as a person.
Right. I actually, there's a reason I tell my story so candidly and so openly, and I don't hold anything back. Like I could sit here and go for 3 hours about my whole story and tell you everything, because it's important. It's important for other people to know, not me. I already know, but like, it's important for me to speak out and tell my story, because if maybe somebody else is going through it at that moment, they hear me. If I helped one person, I don't care if 1 million people hear it and only one person got something out of it. If one person got something out of it, I did the right thing. I did my job.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's a really great point. It's like you said that, just making that one change for one person, it's still a person, still someone's life, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure like even the bigger guys that reach more millions of people, like David Meltzer and Gary Vee and Tony Robbins, those guys, they'd tell you the same thing. If I reach just one person, my job is complete.
Yeah. No, that's it. It's powerful, isn't it? It's really powerful. And it just shows you how, like through radio and through podcasting, how you can make a difference to somebody. And it just kind of like, when I do podcasts, when you do radio and podcasts, you're just kind of doing it. But I think when you take a step back and you think about, how much influence you have with your, your words, you don't know who's listening on the other side or what they're going through. It's quite it's quite a powerful place, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm.
I mean, there's so much power. And you know what? Somebody doesn't have to be a drug addict. Somebody doesn't have to be an alcoholic. Somebody doesn't have to be a victim of anything serious in order to have that powerful energy within them.
Yeah.
It's for anybody who's ever suffered a loss or, abuse or whatever the case may be. I believe that everybody in the world has something to give away.
Yeah. No, completely. I completely agree. I think we've all got. Sorry.
I almost got political for a sec, but I held back.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, except Donald Trump.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a crazy situation, wasn't it? I saw that unfold, and I was like, I mean, I won't go. I don't go too much into politics, but like, it was a bit like a pressure cooker, really, that situation, and it just kind of popped, didn't it? It's
I don't want to make your podcast into a political thing, but I will say this. I'm glad I don't live in the United States anymore, kind of thing. Like, it's such a mess there right now. And like, of course, like, America's my home, but I'm kind of glad I'm in Canada right now, kind of thing. Like, I don't really know anything about your prime minister, but I know I'd rather Boris Johnson than Donald Trump. So it's kind of crazy, it's just, and in me, it has nothing to do with being left or right, because I'm as down the middle as it comes. It comes down to right and wrong. And that's just all I got to say about, like, I don't choose who it is what it is.
No, yeah. I know what you mean.
I voted for the guy in 2016. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Yep. And I regret it, but it is what it is. I can't change it.
Yeah. It's a thing. I mean, politics is pretty complex, and like you could talk about it for hours. But I mean, I'm quite open-minded to listen to people's points of view. That's kind of where I am. Like we call it like independent in the UK. It's like there's the independent party, and they're just kind of their own thing.
Yes, that's the same thing in the States, and I mean, there's more than one party in Canada, so
yeah,
there's more than two parties. I mean,
yeah. That's it. I mean, I think, like you said, you people have always got their own opinion. I respect people's opinions. I don't knock anyone who's got a certain opinion. That's up to them. I think it's two sides to the coin of everything, isn't they? Especially in that game.
And just like our show, I'll bridge the crap. I'll sit here and have a conversation with a Trump supporter. That doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
We can disagree on who we wanted as president. We could disagree on what we had for breakfast. We could disagree on, what we're going to have for dinner or whatever the case may be. But where I draw the line is morality, like right and wrong, like people should know is right and what is wrong. And, it is what it is. Some people will view that situation as the right way to go about things. Some people will view that situation as the wrong way to go about things. And that's all right. But again, I'm not a divisive person,
No. Yeah. I think that's where, it's powerful when you can like sit there, have a conversation with anybody. And I've had conversations with people from all different backgrounds, race and everything like that. And I'm completely open, and I'm completely like non-judgmental. And I see everyone as like, we're all people, and it's like, we're just human at the end of the day. And it's like, everyone's like a blank canvas, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? I don't collude my own kind of presumptions on somebody, kind of see a person, as they are. But I was thinking as well, I remember when we first spoke, I remember like talking about books. Do you think of any books that you read?
Oh my God. I'm such an avid reader. My grandma taught me to read when I was like 3. So I've known how to read like pretty much 28 years, and I just love reading. So I'm into whole different kinds of genres. Yeah. But for inspirational, I love The Power of One by Eckhart Tolle. Yeah. Eckhart Tolle. That's a beautiful one. I love anything by Mitch Albom, anything by Paulo Coelho.
He's good,
yeah. Mitch Albom's great. There's a book he wrote called The 7 People You Meet in Heaven. And you cannot read that book without crying. I don't care if you're the toughest man on earth. You cannot read that book without crying. And then like for other things, I'm really into like true crime or even like fictional crime. So I'm a huge James Patterson fan. Huge. Love them. Every book I've ever read. Alex Cross series, if you've ever heard of the Alex Cross books.
I've heard of those, yeah.
Yeah, that's James Patterson. I actually never got into Alex Cross. That guy puts out 6 books a week. So, I mean, it's just crazy. He just writes so many books. It's insane. But he also has ghostwriters, as all major authors do.
Yeah.
But again, going back to like The Power of One by Eckhart Tolle is the book that really, and it's hard. It's a hard book to follow because it's one of those books that makes it, part of the book is to make you stop and think about what you just read. So whenever you see this certain symbol come up between pages or a paragraph, you have to stop for at least 12 hours before you move on. And that's the point of the book. And it really makes you travel in depth and like how you can take back that energy and that positivity and that kind of control over, not control, but kind of balance of your emotions. It's a beautiful, amazing, powerful book. I highly recommend it.
No, it's powerful, isn't it? And I think it's great. I've heard like lots of good things about Eckhart Tolle, and I've seen like video clips of him. And my brother's read, I think, most of his books. My brother's got a journal. It's like the Power of Now journal, and it's got like, you know, you can journal in things and stuff like that. But yeah, it's good that it kind of forces you to sit back and reflect on those things you've looked at, and to go over that and put it into like that kind of practice. Are you still there?
Oh man,
it's all right. I still there. Your video just froze a little bit. That's fine.
Oh, okay. I couldn't hear. I didn't even know you were there. Sorry, man.
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah, about the Power of Now journal.
Yeah, and it's pretty. I've heard a lot of people recommend it, and it just shows you how kind of powerful it is to be in the now. You know, like in the present. And I think you know, you kind of in the media industry, how crazy it can be when people were kind of caught up in all the media and everything that's going on. I don't think we're kind of designed as people to have so much going on.
Right. And obviously being in the media industry, there's a lot of jealousy. I want to call it jealousy. Other kids these days would just call it hate, but I don't think it's hate. I don't think it's hate, but that's something you have to deal with, an overabundance of, is especially when you're putting your opinions out there, as I do a lot, my sports opinions. You get a lot of backlash and a lot of hate for it. And it's really hard sometimes to like brush off the hate. Like, just because I think Michael Jordan's a basketball player, a better basketball player than LeBron James, doesn't make me a bad person. Just means I have a different opinion. But people are so passionate about sports that they'll actually hate the person giving the opinion because of the opinion. And that's something that's so hard to let go of, because it's so much of it, especially as, you know, your name gets out there a little more. Luckily my name's not out there too much. Like I'm not a worldwide sports. I'm not a worldwide sports name yet. But you know, we're human beings. Of course, we're going to scroll through comments. Of course, we're going to see what people are saying about us. And again, we're humans. So of course it's going to affect us. Right. And I think books like The Power of One and The Secret is another good one. Or any of those books I was talking about, written by Paulo Coelho or Mitch Albom. They kind of bring it back in that, like, I'm in control. Like what everybody else is saying, all this outside noise, doesn't even have to be hate comments or whatever it is, just all the outside noise. I can block it out if I really want to. And that's the stuff people need to hear. So that's why I really dive into that kind of genre.
Yeah. No, that's powerful, isn't it? And I think, like you said, it's that outside noise of the things going on around you. You have a choice to kind of block that out, don't you? It's like, it made me think, you know, it just reminded me of like last night, like my neighbour's car was revving early in the morning, couldn't start the car, and it went like 5 or 6 times, and I was like, part of me felt annoyed because I was woken up and it was annoying me, but then I was like, well, that's an external noise. I kind of realised, you know what I mean, I have the control to be like, well, should I just let it go, or should I let it kind of piss me off, so to speak. And I think a lot of the time, like that doesn't always happen. We all get wound up and triggered. But I think, like you said, when you think about that kind of now, like you said, you're in control of if you want that outside noise to annoy you or not.
Right. It's not about, I mean, we're humans, right? That's the,
yeah.
Oh, what are you saying? I'm sorry. Maybe I misunderstood the question.
No, like, I mean, there's that kind of outside noise, like, obviously, because it was outside, but then there's that kind of other deeper side of the outside noise where it's, opinions of other people and the media, do you know what I mean? And that negativity and stuff. It's like that.
There's a very thin line where the outside noise can become inside noise. If you hear enough of the negativity from outside and you let enough of it in, you start thinking of it yourself. You start doubting yourself when you start letting that stuff consume you. And that's where it gets dangerous. And it's a dangerously thin line, because why am I going to be so consumed with what other people are thinking of me? And again, make sure you let some of the good too, because there is that. People are going to have your back. People are going to support you. People are going to agree with you. So focus more on that. Even if it's one person agreeing with you out of 500 comments that you see, block out those 499 and take on that one. And again, it goes back to affecting one person. Hey, one person agrees with me. One person's happy today. Let me latch onto that.
Yeah. No, I think that's really powerful. And that's really good. That's a really good point. And I think that's what people should think about on social media, isn't it? Like that's a really, really good point. And it's all that it's like a light, isn't it? That kind of one bit of light drowns out all of that other kind of darkness, doesn't it? If there's 400, 500 other comments and there's that one person who's like, yeah, this is good.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's what makes it worth it too. Again. Yeah, exactly.
As well. And I think as well, like, do you have any like kind of role models, or like growing up or now, like professionally, personally, any kind of like role models kind of thing? Or mentors?
Yeah. Well, first of all, my dad and my stepdad. My stepdad, God rest his soul. I was lucky. My stepmom too, and my mom. My parents have been huge for me. My dad gave me the greatest life lesson I've ever gotten. He gave it to me at a really young age, and that was never settle. Never settle for anything less than what you know you're capable of or what you know you deserve. And I've taken that with me even through the rough times. As far as professional role models, I mean, I'm a former amateur boxer, so like I said, I got to interview one of them, and that's Sugar Ray Leonard. But I gotta say, like, somebody like Ryan, like the host of the show, even though I went to high school with him, like professionally, he's a role model of mine. Like, he's built something, and it's admirable what he's done. Gary V, man. I absolutely love Gary V. I don't think there's anything Gary V's ever said where I'm like, wow, I don't agree with a damn thing he just said. Like, every single time. I love when he says him and Tony Robbins have the same view on cursing. Hey, why do you guys curse? Why do you guys curse? Because it's authentic and you fucking pay attention. That's why. I love that. And you know what it is like when you're authentic, like Gary V is, like Tony Robbins is, like David Meltzer is. People gravitate to that. And that's why they're so successful in the games that they're in. Not, I don't want to say games, in the industries that they're in. Because they're authentic. And I think authenticity is huge. And that's why I look up to guys like Gary V, man. Especially Gary V. Gary V's like done everything I want to do with my life, right? Like, he's got a sports company, he's got an esports company, he's got a motivational speaking company, he's got a media company.
There's gaming, and Vayner Gaming.
Yeah, Vayner Gaming, Vayner Sports, Vayner Media, Vayner this, Vayner that, Vayner Wines. What is it? Wine Text. He's got a wine warehouse, wine library. I mean, like, he's just amazing.
Did he sell Empathy Wines? He sold Empathy Wines, or he sold it to a company, didn't he? One of the biggest wine distributors in America, or something like that. So there was some kind of deal, wasn't there?
But I think now he has Wine Text.
Wine Text,
I think there's an app, and I want to say, because I still do some most of the time. So I go on to Tea with Gary V every once in a while. And which is his IG live or his LinkedIn live, whatever it is. And he was saying that he has this wine texting. It's not available in Canada, only the continental United States, where you could text and they'll deliver wine to your door. Especially during COVID, this was a big hit. And, you know, again, Gary V strikes gold, right?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, he has that ability to like pivot and change his mind and be flexible. I think that's something that I kind of like aspire with him as well. He's one of my role models as well, and someone I look up to. And you know, he can just change his mind and just create something new. He's not kind of like set in his ways, is he? He's just so flexible. Do it kind of thing. And I think he's kind of set the benchmark for a lot of things, I think. And he puts a lot of his content out there for free, and he's not saying, "Oh, you need to sign up to my course and pay however much money." Like I saw on his TV Guy V, he talked about the he released a PDF file, two of them. It was like a content model of how to put social media out, and he put that out there for nothing. And you know, he just cares. I think he just cares a lot, doesn't he? He wants to provide value, and he cares.
Yeah, and I mean, it's made him successful. I love his view on free work. You're gonna have to do a lot of free work if you want to make a name for yourself. And I have, and I will continue to do it, because if you're doing it for free, and you think, well, first of all, if you think of it as work, it's not really going to go anywhere. Like, I thoroughly enjoy doing what I do, so doing it for free really doesn't bother me, right?
Yeah.
But I know that I will make money from it through all my hard work into my free stuff that I just give away to people. You know?
Yeah.
I write free promotional articles for people all the time, and I have no problem doing that because I thoroughly enjoy writing.
Yeah. So. I think that's really key, what you touch base on as well. You know, doing things for free because it's like your passion and you love it. And when you love what you're doing, that money will come over time, and it's not the main driving force behind you doing what you're doing. It's like this, like right now, I love doing this. I'm not I would never charge somebody to come on my podcast. You know what I mean? I wouldn't do that. That's not. I mean, some people do that, but that's not in my makeup. You know, I want to just provide value, and I want to obviously make money from it at some stage, but it's not the main driving force as to why I do it. And I think that's like what you touch base on, is that it's important that people try and find that thing that they enjoy. That's just more than work, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that if, say, I went to school for this and like if I forced myself into the industry, I don't think I'd have as much success, because forcing myself to get up every day and doing something wouldn't be fun. I've done that before. I've done that with construction jobs and landscaping jobs and masonry jobs, you name it.
Yeah.
All the trades I've been involved in. And I did that for 29 years, and I never want to do it again, man. And hopefully by the time the world opens up, we could get a lot more done with the media industry. I think we can. I think we've got a lot done considering COVID. And again, passion. For me, passion equals progress, man. You know, you'll always have progress if you're passionate about it.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's a really great point. And like, would you say that, you know, like, I think back to jobs that I've done as well. Like, you know, I did like kitchen portering jobs, dishwashing jobs, you know, waitering jobs, sales jobs, things. Yeah. And I think, you know, like, for me at the time, I hated it and I was frustrated. But I think, like, when you slog back on, like, you know, those jobs you did, you kind of gain a lot from it. Would you say, you know, those experiences in the long run?
It's humbling. You know, when you're like, you know, you got to eat, right? You know, you got to make money to eat. So you're willing to do anything to eat. I've been homeless. Humbling times, you know, when you're homeless, you'll take any job. I've washed dishes for $5 an hour. I've shoveled snow for next to nothing. I've done work for nothing before. Why not, when I'm working on something I'm passionate about, giving it away to people? You know, and like you said, you do learn a lot from those jobs. I would never, like, I have so much appreciation from the people that get up every day and do those jobs. I just didn't enjoy it. I saw the negativity in it for me.
Yeah.
I always wanted more. I'm not saying the people that get up every day and do these jobs, they are amazing. They are
Yeah, yeah,
admirable
yeah.
people. They're like what makes the world go around. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
the unsung heroes of the universe.
Mm,
Um,
that's
and
a
I
really good
really think,
point.
yeah, absolutely. And I think that, those jobs built me into what I am today.
Mm,
And
yeah.
I'll never, ever knock somebody that's in any other industry. Like, just, I'm in the media, so I'm above you. Not a chance. Not a
Mm,
chance. I mean, for me, I'd like to see the janitor make just as much as the CEO.
yeah. But you see a lot of successful people who, they did those jobs.
Yeah.
There's a guy who's got a successful chain of restaurants near me, and he's a successful chef now. And I think he started kitchen port. He started washing dishes. Now he's a head chef, and he owns a company, and a lot of successful. It's that journey, isn't it? And that grind and that work ethic, isn't it? That all kind of all into plays.
Jeff Bezos started Amazon in an apartment with a couch and a bulletin board.
Yeah,
Barstool Sports, Dave Portnoy started that in the basement. He's the richest sports media enterprise in the world right now. He's got more money than ESPN.
wow.
ESPN's going down the tubes. I promise you that this is one tip. I bet you that ESPN's down the tubes in the next 5 years. Done.
Do you think? Yeah, I've not seen what.
A lot of people are gravitating away from it. I think that no matter what side you're on it, I think that people are tired of seeing politics in sports, or they don't care that they see politics in sports. I think they're tired of having it thrown at them every 5 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
And I get that, but like a lot of it's not politics. A lot of it was like human rights. But I just think that it's a touchy subject, and I don't want to sound like I'm being insensitive. I'm just going by what I've seen.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at the NBA finals this year and the NBA finals last year, the average NBA finals viewership was 15 million. This year it was 5. And that's with people locked down and with people with the ability to watch it, all the time. And to have your viewership cut by 66%, that's huge. So that's why I say, like, ESPN, and I don't want to say it's their fault. They're just reporting the news, but
yeah.
That's just my thoughts. And Barstool covers everything, right? Barstool's funny. Barstool has, and they've done a tremendous job. That's another guy professionally, by the way, that I kind of look up to, is Dave Portnoy.
Yeah, is that who Gary Vee interviewed recently? I listened to him talking to the guy who he set up Barstool, and they only did it recently. Is that right? And then they say they raised a lot of money for people. He was talking about the hospitality sector. They raised a lot of money, like something like 60 or 70 million. And
he is picking out 60 separate businesses to donate $200,000 to during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. That's unreal.
It's amazing.
60 different businesses, $200,000.
Yeah.
That's 12 million.
Yeah.
That he's just giving away.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It's two ends of the spectrum, isn't there? When you think of people in life, that's the way I see it. I mean, there's like that's what I would like to do if I was in that situation, that position, to give back and to help other people, isn't it? I couldn't sit on that money and just sit on it, if that makes sense. To me, I find that crazy.
I'm the same way. And it's easy for us to say that because we don't have it, right?
Yeah.
I just think that when you come from humble beginnings, it's so much easier to be selfless when you do accomplish, monetary gain like that.
Yeah.
Dave Portnoy, Gary Vee, all those guys, they come from humble beginnings. And when they have the opportunity to massively give back or massively give somebody an opportunity, they do because they know what it's like.
Yeah. No, exactly. And I think, like, on that point, like, it's important, isn't it, to have those role models and to have those people you kind of like look up to in life. And it gives you that kind of driving force, that it is possible, and you can learn from those people, can't you, in what they do. And just kind of like round up as well, like, where can people find you? Is there anything else that you want to talk about? Anything that you else want to say?
I think we covered a lot here, man. I really enjoyed my time here today. As for like where you can find me or the Ryan Show, you can find the Ryan Show on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Everything. Just type in the Ryan Show and you'll find it. Don't click on the one on Ryan's World though. That's the little kid that's like the richest YouTuber in the world. We get confused all the time. I don't know why. But and then as for me, you can find at Mac Daddy Ryan Show on Instagram. I'm Nick Mac on Facebook. I love having conversations just like me and you are having, whether they're sports, life. I stay away from politics. Please don't try to talk to me about politics. It's a volatile subject, right? And I don't want to be. I don't want to be. No. I don't want to be the cause of somebody's volatilism, and I don't want to have my own either, right? So But find me anywhere. Nick Mac Facebook, Mac Daddy Ryan Show Instagram. I'm on TikTok, Mac Daddy the Ryan Show, with all my sports opinions. Thanks to Gary V again, and I just think that get a hold of me. Let's talk. I love having conversations with people from all walks of life, from all regions of the world. So, let's have a conversation.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. And I think it's great what you're doing. And, it's really great talking to you and, like inspiring, listening to your story and, how far you've come and what you're doing. And I really appreciate your time, and I'll, like stay in touch, and I can network you with people that I know as well and sort that out.
Absolutely. I'd love to connect you with some people we know as well, maybe get some more guests for your podcast. And yeah, man, I really enjoyed this. I'd love to keep in touch with you, and let's do more work together. You never know what the future holds, and definitely let's stay in touch. I'll give you my number after the podcast. And you can text me, call me anytime.
No, cool, man. Cheers, Nick. I really appreciate that. And I wish you all the best in what you're doing today.
Absolutely. Cheers to you, Adam, and the Parrsitivity Project. Really enjoyed it.
Oh, cheers, man. I really appreciate it. And all the best in the Ryan Show as well.
Absolutely. Thank you.